Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. They have come for Russell Brand. Interesting turn of events that has transpired over a few days. We have Russell Brand being accused by 4 individuals of assaults, essentially, of the intimate kind. Can't say some stuff due to YouTube. And now he has been dropped by his agent. Now, I think there's a few things to sort of go through when we look at this as a situation. Russell Brand had sort of gained prominence during the COVID era, even if we call it an era, of being against the grain, as it were. And he's continued that, moving further and further, and sort of rose even further and further into popularity, and has now established himself as a counter to the news pieces and the sort of mainstream media websites that have led this investigation. I'm not going to say attack, I'm going to say investigation, because we don't know as yet. But a far greater mind than me, of a litigious nature, Viva Frey, posted some fantastic things actually, and I think it's worth taking a look at, because he sort of runs down, a good analysis of Russell Brand and the situation. But let's take a look first and foremost what he's being accused of, and then we'll get to Viva Frey, who's a lawyer basically. So there's a joint investigation by UK media outlets, the Sunday Times, the Times, and Channel 4 Dispatches. Now they all said that Russell Brand has been accused of various assaults, rape, sexual assault, emotional abuse during a 7-year period. The reports emerge after the 48-year-old actor has already issued a video on Friday. So he did that to deny what he called very serious criminal allegations, and they are. He's not wrong. Now, he was sent information about all of this. He was told that this was happening, and he tried to get out ahead of it. And everyone thought, and rightly, that he was going to be Me Too'd. So he said the following. He insisted his relationships had always been consensual. The relationships that I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent, and I'm being transparent about it now. He claimed that his openness was being metastasized into something criminal, and suggested that it was a serious and concerted agenda to silence him. Brand has in recent years reinvented himself as a counterculture guru who questions mainstream media reporting and endorses conspiracy theories. Now, I'm not going to say endorses conspiracy theories. I've watched some of his stuff. He just questions them on a legitimate level. So I actually disagree with that. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. There is. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Brand claimed that he was aware of witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts that narrative that these 2 mainstream media outlets are trying to construct. So, according to the reports, Brand entered into a relationship with a 16-year-old schoolgirl. In another instance, he was accused by a woman of raping her in the Los Angeles home. And a third woman said Brand sexually assaulted her while she was working with him in Los Angeles. The report said several others had accused Brand of physical and emotional abuse, sexual harassment and bullying. Most of the women wanted to remain anonymous. The documentary will be released today on Channel 4's Dispatches series. Now, a few things to jump out here, because a lot of people will say this 16-year-old part. In the UK, I mean, that's the age of consent, basically. So I know that will shock a lot of people. I'm not saying morally it's correct, etc. But, that is the age where you can say, oh yeah, you can go and, bump uglies with someone. But it's important to note that, because a lot of people will say, well, that's, rape straight away. Not technically. Anyway, let's take a look at what Viva Frey says, because I think he words this much, much better than I possibly could, and as I said, from a more litigious background. So he says, as I'm sure many of you have now seen, they have come for Russell Brand. Rather serious allegations. They actually started gunning for him a while ago, and the more popular he got, the harder they came for him. So this is important to note. There was a March piece detailing how he fell out of favour with the left. It's pretty telling. Once you go after their sacred cows, Hillary Clinton, Fauci, the jab, big pharma, big military, they send in their proverbial assassins. If they can't assassinate you literally, they will do it through lawfare or through hit piece character assassinations. And I do agree with this. I think we've all seen this happen in real time. So the gist of the accusations against Russell are 4 women who came forward, but only after journalists approached them to do so. That's neither. It's an interesting piece of information. The women only revealed the information when they were asked to. Do you want to do this? Can we talk to you? It wasn't that these women came forward without being approached. So it's that it does matter. You've got to weigh that up. And they allege everything from psychological abuse to literal rape dating back to 2006. So one of the accusers in particular alleges she was raped, went to the hospital to get a rape kit. Medical records allegedly confirm it, and then sought therapy, also allegedly confirmed by medical records. And it is only alleged at this time. This may go to court, and if it does, this will be fascinating to watch. Because what we've seen lately of these Me Too movements, when they do go to court, is that they get absolutely obliterated. Because the information is just not, there's no evidence, it's not there. So if we're playing devil's advocate or merely thinking critically and assessing the situation objectively, the woman who claims rape confirmed that they had consensual sex in the past, but that Russell was pressuring her not to use a condom then, and the incident that she claims was rape was sex, allegedly non-consensual, but also without a condom. One can easily imagine Russell's defence. It was a consensual, like the prior occasions, but consensually without a condom. A decision the woman clearly regretted, evidenced by text messages and Russell's known sex history. So, yeah. So, stealthing, engaging in consensual sex, but non-consensually without or removing a condom is a crime in some jurisdictions, including England, from what I understand. So the allegation is serious, and given Russell's admitted sex addiction, the allegations are not unbelievable on their face. This is true. Now, was the sex totally consensual in the story a total revisionist fabrication at the request, pressure of journalists and media? Question. Was the sex consensual with the condom removal, absence of a condom, non-consensual? Question. Was it rape, pure and simple? Again, from what I understand, there is no statute of limitations on rape in England, so a serious legal issue for Russell. The problem is that we will likely never know, and it won't make a difference, because once the accusations are made, as the metaphor goes, the feathers of the torn pillow have been released, and there is no putting them back. So the other problem is that we are not dealing with a Brett Kavanaugh type either. Russell is not a judge. With an otherwise unblemished past, he is an admitted and purportedly recovered drug addict and sex addict. He has been very open about his struggles for sobriety and fighting addiction, and now his honesty will be the sharpest tool in the arsenal to be used against him by those intent on taking him down. Truth be damned. When the accusations of conspiracy theory peddling did nothing, the Matrix reverts to its go-to, allegations of sexual misconduct. I think the issue that I have in believing these is that the character assassinations had been attempted for a great deal of time. People were trying to take him down for a while. This is why I air of cynicism on this. Are the allegations against Russell Brand true? No one will ever know, except Russell and the accusers, and even then, I'm not so certain. Revisionist memory can retroactively fabricate victimhood where there was no victimization, and it can retroactively fabricate innocence where there was in fact culpability. As I've always said, the easiest person in the world to lie to is yourself, for good and for bad. So, yeah, the broader picture here is the obvious. If false, it's a dirty smear campaign that will probably work given Russell's past. And this is true. It does seem to be. Lots of people are jumping on it. Further anyway, part 2. Even if true, the left, the uni party, the fake news MSM, the entire entertainment industry, whatever you want to call it, had to have known about it all along and kept the dirty secret to themselves until such time as they saw Russell as an ideological adversary. That's the other thing to look at. Never trust people that will hold on to such information and then just go, well, we use it against you now. That's not right either. So they tolerate the abuse so long as politics are aligned, then exploit the victims for political profit when politics diverge. It's their modus operandi in Hollywood and in politics. What does Viva Frey think? He's got no doubt that Russell did things he deeply regrets, things that were indeed exploitative, opportunistic, disrespectful, callous, total degenerate. He was quite open about it in his book, and I have no doubt he has sought to make amends to the extent possible as per the 12 steps of recovery. Do I believe he committed bona fide sex crimes? No. I will never know for certain. Do I believe this because I have a soft spot bias for Russell? Perhaps. I am susceptible of bias-motivated reasons as well. But with that self-doubt in mind, my scepticism of the allegation stems not so much from my propensity to want to like Russell for the good he is doing now, but more so because of the passage of time between the alleged acts and the accusations. I appreciate all the arguments for why alleged victims are slow to come forward, but there is an inherent unfairness for all in waiting too long when innocence can effectively never be proven and the shroud of guilt will always remain given the mere existence of the allegations. So Viva Frey is deeply sceptical of the politically convenient time for the accusations in the broader context of the attempts to take Russell Brand down for good, for once and for all. One attempt after another over the course of years, all to no avail, and then this. And that's my thoughts as well. And I thought that would be a poignant thing to sort of slide in here, quite frankly. But now look, he has been taken down from his agent. Now this actually could be beneficial for him. Why? Well, he doesn't have to pay him any more money, believe it or not. So Russell Brand has been dropped by his agent, Tavistock Wood, amid accusations he raped and sexually abused 4 women at the height of his fame. And this chap is fairly independent now with his YouTube sort of status and things, and he can sort of act independently of the industry. But we'll see how this goes. So Tavistock Wood, backed up by United Talent agent-owned Curtis Brown, terminated all dealings with Brand this week after being presented with allegations of misconduct by the Times of London and Sunday Times newspaper, Deadline reports. Earlier on Saturday, that Brand's profile had vanished from Tavistock Wood's website. Brand vehemently denies wrongdoing. Tavistock Wood, which also represents Lily James and Dominic West, took action against Brand 3 years ago after being informed of allegations he had a relationship with a 16-year-old who accused him of sexual assault. Brand was 31 at the time. That's not, morally, there's a wrong there. So the woman, who was given the pseudonym Alice by the Times, told the newspapers that she contacted Tavistock Wood co-founder Angerard Wood in 2020 and informed the agent of her experience. Alice said she wanted an apology, but she did not receive one. Instead, the woman said she received an aggressive message from a lawyer representing Brand who implied that she was seeking compensation for her alleged experience. Alice said the response was insulting and invalidated her experience. It's an alleged experience, yeah. And, yeah, I don't like that wording. So in a statement, Tavistock Wood told Deadline, Russell Brand categorically and vehemently denied the allegation made in 2020, but we now believe we were horribly misled by him. TW has terminated all professional ties to Brand. So Deadline has contacted Brand's publicist and attorney for comment. He preemptively refuted the allegations in the Times in a social media video in which he said his relationships were always consensual. And he added to that report, which has been the report, which has been supported by the investigation work by Channel 4, was a serious and concerted agenda by the mainstream media to silence him. So basically, this person alleged that Brand sexually assaulted her by forcing his bits down her throat. And she said she had to punch him really hard in the stomach to get him off. She's one of 4 women who have alleged assaults. It's a difficult situation. If everyone knew about this for so long, which they clearly did, this is an investigation, right? How would you know about this? How would you push these people forward into revealing all this information if you didn't already know about it? Was what I was trying to say. So this just it's a very difficult one to look at. if he wasn't as prominent doing what he's doing now, I'd be more inclined to believe it. But because he's doing what he's doing now, so independently, so, you know, the opposing side of things, I guess, of the mainstream media, where mainstream media then comes for him and goes, well, yes, these women didn't actually come forward. We had to speak to them first, and then they told us. That makes me question quite a lot of stuff. How did you know it? To push them to come forward, that's an issue. For me, personally, I question that massively. And then if you knew it, because you'd had to have known it before, why didn't you do this before? Why didn't you send this information to the police? Why did you wait this particular time to do it? There's a motivation there. Oh, I don't know. But there you go, they've come for Russell Brand.